Hello, humans. I want to share one of the ways being neurodivergent affects my life in this random bit of thought. I'm going to get into how ADHD, affects my emotions, why it can turn some people into a hermit, masking, breakdowns, and more. But before I get started, if you want to keep this channel going, you can check out my Buy Me a Coffee page for merch, cat videos, exclusive content, or just to buy me a tea. I'm not much of a coffee person, but any good coffee shop sells tea, or the tea. You'll find that link to that down in the description. You could also like and share this video and subscribe to the channel. It really does help. Thanks for your patience. Now, back to the topic. You'll notice that I usually say I'm neurodivergent instead of I have ADHD. That's because people often dismiss ADHD as a kid's disorder, something that most people grow out of by their 20s. Nowadays, we know that's not true. You never outgrow having ADHD because your brain structure is what causes it. You just get better at hiding it. People with ADHD will change the way they act to blend in with the neurotypical people around them. We can't change how we process information. It's how we're wired. But we can learn to act more like those around us. This is called masking. You are wearing a mask. Sometimes the strategies we use to mask our differences stop working for us, which can lead to a neurodivergent breakdown. Essentially, we lose the ability to function among the neurotypical folk, and to them, it looks like we're having a mental health crisis. And I guess in a way we are, but instead of being overwhelmed by a psychological disorder like depression or anxiety, we're not able to hide some of the neurodivergent traits that we usually do, which leads to bad interactions with others, which exacerbates those traits. The strategies that we build up just stop working. It's a vicious cycle that leads to a neurodivergent breakdown. At the center of that circle is something that most people don't associate with ADHD, even though it is one of the major signs of the disorder: hyperemotionality. Hyperemotionality is often misunderstood. Those of us with this aspect, like myself, we don't have inappropriate emotions or affect. We don't laugh at tragedy or suddenly start sobbing for no reason. We have perfectly appropriate emotions to our circumstances. They're just really big. We get angry for the same reasons typical folks do, but we get angrier. You might get miffed, and we get pissed. We love more quickly and deeply than typicals, and it's harder for us to get over it. You might get uncomfortable in a crowd, while we might become totally unglued. I remember going to an aquarium years ago with my girlfriend at the time and two really good friends. We apparently went when the crowd was at its worst because there were people everywhere and none of them could figure out how to make a line. We're trying to get tickets and we were all annoyed by the delays and the jostling we had to put up with. But while they were able to deal, my hyperemotionality kicked in and I got really agitated and started acting out. I basically made an ass of myself, and I knew it as I was doing it. I just couldn't stop myself. The hyper-emotional freight train was hurtling down the tracks, and I had hopped the boxcar. That's a hobo reference. I was experiencing the same emotions as my friends, but the magnitude of my emotions was much greater than what they were experiencing. Thus, I looked like an idiot making loud comments about the crowd around us. I just couldn't stop myself. It's an embarrassing memory. Hyperemotional incidents can trigger a breakdown and happen more often during a breakdown. That's why I said it's at the center of the vicious circle. There's one more aspect of ADHD that I want to discuss in this video because it is related to hyperemotionality. Rejection sensitivity or rejection sensitive disorder. They're actually two different things. These are basically the same thing, but to different degrees. Neurodivergent people, those of us with ADHD or on the autistic spectrum, experiences these effects because of the hyperemotionality that we have. According to the Newport Institute, people with one of these issues have strong reactions to rejection, criticism, disapproval, failure, or the feeling of having disappointed others. Then they may feel shame about their extreme reactions, leading to a higher risk of anxiety, depression, self-harm, and suicidal thoughts or behaviors. The difference between rejection sensitivity and rejection sensitive dysphoria is the dysphoria. The word dysphoria comes from a Greek word meaning severe emotional pain, dissatisfaction, or discomfort. Well, somebody with rejection sensitivity has a bad reaction to the perception of rejection, real or not, since a neutral response from someone can be felt as a negative or rejection. Someone with RSD can feel like they've been punched. People with RSD often experience emotions as a physical sensation. To avoid those feelings, we have strong people-pleasing tendencies and try to be perfect to prevent any chances of failing or disappointing others. When you have RSD, you're always expecting rejection. You're expecting to get dumped, fired, or have your friends leave you out whenever you interact with someone. So any kind of relationship becomes draining. You think people won't like you once they get to know the real you. That leads to low self-esteem, extreme self-doubt, negative self-talk, and being overcome by sudden outbursts of negative emotion, like rage or extreme sadness. Those outbursts leads to feeling for shame for losing control, so you end up shying away from trying new things or interacting socially due to the fear of disapproval or social rejection. If you're wondering, yes, I do have rejection sensitive dysphoria. That's why I'm basically a hermit, and Addi don't date is a maxim for my life. People think I don't date because I'm trans, but that's not it. I'm just done with being crushed by the slightest thing the person I'm with does. Also, you need to understand that RSD is always internally focused. You don't get angry with the other person for rejecting you. You get mad at yourself for being someone who they want to reject. At least that's how it works for me. When you're rejected or just think you have been, even if it wasn't the person's intent, you feel like you need to fix yourself for them. You end up feeling compelled to try to make it up to them or trying to get them to see you or explain what you meant, which just makes everything worse, which leads to even greater feelings of dysphoria and a greater need to fix yourself or fix things with them. An ex-girlfriend once told me I was obsessed with her, not because I was, but because of this demonic feedback loop. Obsession is externally focused. It's the extreme possessiveness of a person. It's saying to yourself that you must have that person and they're going to get with the program. And I understand why she thought I was obsessed, even if I wasn't. I wasn't ass to her. I was never abusive or anything, but I was a jerk. RSD is about what's wrong with you and wanting to do anything to fix yourself so someone won't want to reject you, even if there's nothing wrong with you and they haven't really rejected you. But then all the trying to fix yourself becomes the problem. I didn't even know about RSD at the time, so I didn't know how to explain to her what was going on with me. Also, it's not just romantic relationship that can trigger these feelings. Whenever a friend cancels plans with me, it's a gut punch. Their reason for canceling might have nothing to do with me, but being canceled on makes me feel like they just couldn't stomach being around me. Today's social media environment makes things even worse. If I see them posting things they did without me after they canceled on me, I feel like they canceled just because they didn't want to be around me. So they're out at the bars having fun. I'm sitting at home, not at the same time though. Even worse, I know it's totally irrational, but I can't avoid that feeling. This is why I have friends, but don't get very social with them. I always say yes if they ask me to do something with them, but I rarely ask them to do something. If I do and they have other plans, that will set off my RSD. Yes, I understand that's totally irrational. Yes, I know it has nothing to do with me if they have to take their cat to the vet or something. That has no bearings on the feelings that them saying no elicits in me. I hate feeling like that, and I've lost the rational part of my mind, so I avoid those feelings by avoiding getting close to anyone anymore. Years of feeling like I've been punched in the face have made me a hermit. Medication helps with hyperemotionality, and since I was finally diagnosed and started on meds, I've noticed a serious increase in my emotional control. I'm going to need a lot of therapy to get past the fear of rejection, though. No, it's not the fear of rejection. It's the fear of the emotion rejection sparks in me. This is another video that went on a lot longer than I thought it would. I should have realized that discussing hyperemotionality and its knock-on effects, such as neurodivergent breakdowns and RSD, would take a while to explain. If you would like to learn more about the lesser-known effects of ADHD, HEDS, and more, please like and share this video and subscribe to the channel. Just click on my face below. You'll also find some other videos that might interest you. Until the next video, peace and long life.